what do you know about business? You didn't go to college, you barely graduated high school, you can't start a company. Okay, well, challenge accepted. I'm the type of person that if you tell me I can't do something, that fuels my fire more than anything on earth. And the bad decisions are important because those are the ones you learn from. When you lose track of your why, you will lose track of your success. Right? Sometimes a certain goal leads you on a path to discover an actual goal that's in your heart. I took a look at alcohol in my life, and that's why I think mentors and finding people that believe in you are key. And staying humble and not thinking you're a know-it-all, because that's when you stop. It's building something that scale mindset for me is like $100,000 mistake, but I won't make it again. It's part of the service that I owe to society. Also, is those younger, motivated folks that I like to mentor, is showing that I believe in them.
They say find a goal and work for it with everything that you have. To do what makes you passionate. To go to university, get an apprenticeship, get a job with your company, be an entrepreneur, buy a house, travel the world, strive for financial freedom. But in the end, it's all about you. It's about what you want for your life and where you want to take it. My name is Jessie Pengilly, and my job is to listen. Each week, I seek out individuals who are chasing and achieving their own goals on their own terms. Each have their own individual motivation, focus, and passion. Their stories will change your perspective on what is possible, open your eyes to what real people are doing, how they're doing it, and hopefully inspire you to do what you want to do on your terms.
Amazing. Yeah, you've had an amazing background.
Yeah, well, thank you. So I guess I don't think about it, but as much as, but I think what stemmed for me was, it kind of starts with the belief system in yourself, right? That you can achieve things and you can accomplish goals, and then kind of figuring out what you want and understanding that failure is part of the path, and it doesn't mean that you're not good enough or that you're not capable or that it should stop you. It does mean, I think that Ego is the Enemy. That's a book actually that I love that I read. That sometimes your ego will get in the way as far as what you're supposed to be doing, right? And so, for me, my path was my passion is really to help people, and I know a lot of people say that, but it is with everything I've done with my health clinic, which is help people solve. I do hormone replacement therapy, so it's hard. I have 40 to 50 physicians that are clients of ours because they don't specialize in that, right? And so not everybody that may be having an issue, hormone imbalance, can go to the doctor and get a solution because the doctor might not know how to do it, right? Yeah. And with healthcare and insurance and all stuff like it just can be a challenge. So I created a clinic that helps those kind of clients, and I have a supplement company that is catered towards diabetics, because not all diabetics. My business partner of that venture he's type 1 diabetic, and for him, he knows that there's so many supplements out there to help. He's an avid tennis player, he's a college baseball player. He's like, I can't take all these things though because it puts me at risk because I am diabetic. So we created a supplement company to offer sports nutrition products for diabetics, and then even a weight loss product all natural weight loss product that can help type 2 diabetics lose weight and try to get healthier, things like that. And then also on my path of self-improvement, I took a look at alcohol in my life and decided that I couldn't really figure out where it fit other than just like socially doing those things, going out and having a drink and doing that. But I kind of looked at it and like, do I need that to complete myself or to complete the social event or those things? Do I need that to trigger the unplug of my day? And so I decided to take a break from alcohol. And then in doing 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, I was like, I'll never drink again. I didn't miss it. I didn't need it. There was like this release of like, you don't have to worry about drinking and driving. You have the money and alcohol, whatever, like anything that can come along. Even for me personally, my father had a serious drinking problem and actually drank himself to death. So I was like, I don't ever want it. The number one way to eliminate a potential opposition is just remove it, right? Instead of leaving it around. And so in doing so, that inspired me I want to share with the world, like, I'm not against alcohol. My wife probably still has a glass of wine every night or every other night. But it's okay to just not have to drink, and you don't have to feel obligated socially to drink and those kind of things. So I wrote my book, Better Than the Binge, Overcoming the Social Obligation of Alcohol, just to put it out there, start the conversation, and it's helped thousands of people already, which is exciting.
It's incredible.
And so going back to that, my foundation is to help people. So in goal setting, the goal is like, what's my purpose in that goal? Who am I helping? How am I helping them? Am I qualified? Am I capable? And you kind of go through that stuff. And you can't disqualify yourself because of where you came from or what your degree is or lack of degree or whatever it might be. And I think that it goes into a passion that if you really, really believe in something, you really want to solve a problem, you can be unstoppable as long as you make that decision yourself. So that's kind of a little bit of my story in a nutshell.
That's incredible. And so how have you found, I suppose, you mentioned you're going back to the companies, because the book I've read, by the way, it's fantastic. So we'll definitely talk about that later. But with the two companies, did you always plan to do that? Was that always one of your goals, or was it something that just came about?
No, it just came about. And it's funny that I just had a conversation earlier this morning with someone about this, that I'm the type of person that if you tell me I can't do something, that fuels my fire more than anything on earth. And I wanted to start a business. It was in my heart to do. At the time, I was a portfolio manager for a very large mortgage company, managing kind of third-party portfolios of different hedge funds and things like that out there. I liked it. The money was good. I didn't love it, though. It wasn't like that helping. I was helping people, but it wasn't like I didn't feel it in my soul,
Yeah.
And it wasn't, we were doing great stuff, but it just wasn't it. My passion was health and fitness, and I met with a couple of successful people and just kind of shared, and they're like, you have great marketing ideas, and that's where I think mentors and finding people that believe in you are key. And I think that part of the service that I owe to society also is those younger, motivated folks that I like to mentor, is showing that I believe in them, right? And that's what it is if good people can believe in people, it inspires them to keep going, right? But if everybody's like, oh, I don't know, that's probably hard, that looks too tough, because that's what our family might tell us, or your parents might say, like, oh, why don't you just go do that? That's easier. There's too much of that. And so to that point that, having kind of someone like, well, what do you know about business? You didn't go to college, you barely graduated high school, you can't start a company. And I was like, okay, well, challenge accepted. You fast forward, like I started brainstorming, and I made $14,000 my first year, and then obviously things scaled significantly from there. And in doing so, you become better at your craft too. I was a bonehead business person. I didn't know anything, right? And then as you do that, and you grow and learn and grow and learn and keep going, then you get good at it. Where now I may host conference calls with endocrinologists to have an understanding of how I go through the initial client conversation to pull some of the needs of these clients that they might not be explaining to the doctor at the visit. And you just learn those things throughout the process, where you went from, I want to start a business, but I don't know anything about business, to other business leaders leaning on you for advice, and it's staying humble and not thinking you're a know-it-all, because that's when you stop learning, right? When you think you know it all, and continue to grow in that process. And that's really how it worked with my clinic. And we've just continued to refine it and grow it. And the expansion we're doing this year is massive. And then my supplement company was a friend of mine that kind of reached out, my business partner, who was like, hey, he wanted to solve a problem in the diabetic space. And so we decided to just, I was like, let's try it, invest throw some money into it, build the stuff up. And that was a learning process too. The supplement industry is very hard because you got to describe, why are you different? Why are you unique? And diabetes isn't sexy. And so because you watch social media and everything's fit and everything, the abs and the butt and the pose and all, like we got distracted and wanted to take the company, like we want to be cool and we want to be everything to everybody else and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, when you lose track of your why, you will lose track of your success, right? And the reason we created it was for a solution to help diabetic people whether it's giving them some stuff through sports nutrition, pre-workouts, and branched-chain amino acids recovery, sugar-free, all natural flavor, all that stuff that we do in our products. That was our mission. And then it took us, we got lost for a year and a half, I'd say, trying to be something we weren't.
Yeah.
And when you stay back to your initial goal, your initial why, your initial focus, that's when the doors open, the opposition is out of your way, and things move fast, almost effortlessly. Not effortlessly, but compared to when you're trying to push something in the wrong direction, that's hard. And when it's the right direction, it's actually always easier.
It's always you go with the flow. It's like the right energy, kind of it moves. Like there's always an open door. It's just recognizing the right door.
Yes.
That's incredible. And where do you want to take this? So you've obviously achieved a goal essentially. You've built this company that is functioning, that's working, that's benefiting other people's lives. What happens then? Where do you want to take it now? What's the next goal, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So I'm very gratefully unsatisfied. I think in a sense of growth. I think for the supplement company, the goal is I already kind of have some markers out in the future of growth and acquisition. So building the company up, selling it, because to me, what I've learned is I don't love supplements, and I don't necessarily love hormone optimization. I do because I work with some awesome clients. I work with celebrities. I work with retired pro athletes. So it's like that part's kind of cool, you know what I mean? And I love seeing the progress of people that weren't super healthy and weren't very happy, and then fast forward a few months or a few years later, and they're like the healthiest they've been in 20 years, and they're 50. You know, that's awesome. It's rewarding. And the people are like, "You're in my will," and like, you know, that's cool. You know, it's good. It's a neat thing. And helping people that are motivated, but their bodies just aren't as motivated as their mind, right? So we can help create that. So I do love it. But what I've loved the most, I've found through this, you know, setting the goal, maybe if my goal was I want to own a supplement company. What my goal really is I like building businesses, and I want to work with other people to help them build businesses and create acquisitions and exits. Like, so growth to exit, learning that. I have a business partner with my clinic that just came on with the new branch that we've been doing, who's done that a few times. So now I'm kind of, you know, I'm gravitating towards, he doesn't know as much as I do about the hormone replacement therapy space or that kind of stuff, but he knows how to kind of build and button up a business for a large acquisition. So that's what I want to do. And then if that goes well, him and I will continue to work together on those ventures, right? And so to me, we'd be in a position where I can pick and choose. Like, ultimate goal would be to pick and choose what ventures I go into that I can help, where I can bring value, because you can't bring value to every situation. That's a good, like a self-awareness thing. And know, like, well, I can bring value here. I know how to help these guys go from 0 to 60. And then I have some other people I might bring in at 60 to get them up to 100. And then we do an exit and sell the company and help them create a great life for themselves and family, obviously financially win for myself. And that's what I want to do, is just continue to pick and choose where I want to spend my time and grow companies.
It sounds a lot like you've almost picked an A-team. So you've got the people, you're all skilled in different areas. It's picking the people that you're going to succeed with. So you've put together a team that you know you can succeed with, which will also develop as well.
Yeah, and it takes time. I would not say for sure that there's a full A-team, and I think that's part of the process in telling anyone that's kind of getting into the game is they're not your A-team until they've proven to be your A-team. You know, because there's so many. That's part of it too. Is, you know, like your heart's into something, and someone else might not be, or you know, like you hope that person could be your A-team piece, that one piece. And then they don't, and then it's like a big hole. So you have to sometimes prepare, prove yourself. And I know, like with this particular person that I'm working with the one venture, he vetted me from a business standpoint, from a personal standpoint, all those things. Like, can I do it? And then once you show I can do it, I can exceed expectations, I can hit deadlines, I can do all those things, and see that people, like, that's how they operate, because that's their character, not because they're leading you to do it or anything like that. You see, then you know, like, that person might be able to come in that inner circle that 18. But yeah, right now I think like you said is I'm trying to build that 18 because there's so many. With business nowadays, obviously, you know that everything from the marketing and social and the online, like all those things are there. You can have a great financial person, you can have a great location, but that stuff doesn't matter as much anymore because everything's so global, everything's so now, it's a 24/7 touch, feel, constant, so there's so many different pieces of the 18 today that weren't there, maybe for our parents, for example,
You're right, it's more complex in a way, but also maybe it means that it's not more simple in a respect, but you can reach more people quicker. And part of us now with the globalization or digitalization, however we call it, you're able to take this product that's being produced in Austin, am I right? You're in Austin, Texas?
I'm in just south of Austin, Houston, Texas.
So in Houston, and you can then transport it globally, potentially. That's something that you can do.
Right, absolutely. And it's, building something with that scale mindset, that how far do you want to take it? You want to be, a lot of places they want to be, their position is local. And there's some businesses that are global. And I think that it's just addressing that stuff too, but also taking steps, right? Because you can say, I want to take over the whole world, and you build something to do that, but you can't even get off the ground because you're trying to be something that you're not there yet. And I've learned that, like, patience is the most important thing, I think, in growing any business and just about anything, any relationship, anything. Patience is key. As humans, we don't do so well with it all the time, especially nowadays because everything's right now, right? Anything I want to know right now, I just go on my phone or my computer, and I get it right now, right? And we are victims of this instant gratification of things that often lead us away from our path because we're looking for the shortcut. We're looking for the fix. I want to see quick sales, so I might look into someone who promises something that I want, which I've done. I've hired salespeople that promise me the world, right? Pay them a crazy amount of money, and they don't show it to me. But there's so much blind faith that I'm like, oh, maybe next month. Oh, we're almost there, But really, the guy was just a joke. He was a has-been. He was somebody who he had rested on his past, right, as opposed to his current. And you learn those things as a business person. For me, it's like $100,000 mistake, but I won't make it again. And maybe that saves me from the $1 million mistake, or you know what I mean? And so you learn those. That's part of the process, I think, of it is if you're not failing, it's a matter of time before you do. It's a matter of time before you make a bad decision. And the bad decisions are important because those are the ones you learn from. You know what I mean?
And how do you come back to those? So I guess a lot of people have gone through, you've got a goal, you work towards it, you really strive, and something happens that suddenly just takes the wind out of your sails. There's a massive boulder on the path. How do you I suppose it's probably quite a mental thing. How do you come back from that?
I think everybody's different, right? And this is something I was speaking with at lunch with the pastor of my church this week, and we were talking about everybody doesn't see things the way, you see things through the way you do, I see things the way I do. Sometimes we think the way we see things is the right way, and that's how everybody should see things, but unfortunately it's not. And so how I might bounce back from that situation would be different than how some other people do. And how I bounce back from that situation, for example, like a failure 2 years ago, from a year ago to a failure that could happen today, is different. A lot of it's emotional intelligence, a lot of it's experience. But going back to what I said earlier, patience is the number one thing, right? Like when a big thing that pulls the wind out of your sails happens, emotionally, emotions come up, right? So the number one thing is I can't make any decisions. I mean, if there's a gun to your head, literally, you got to make an emotional decision, right? But if there isn't, and you just take a step back and look at what is the urgency? Is it urgent? What can I do to manage it? And you kind of learn to assess those things as a business person. In the beginning, you don't even know what to assess. You don't even know what to think about. And then when you get seasoned, I think there's steps that you create for yourself that you go through and address a situation that, a problem, whatever it might be. And sometimes you just have to say, I'm waiting 24 hours because you're emotional. It's just like my wife and I might have a disagreement. We used to have this when we first got married, we had this 24-hour rule that if one of us did something that wasn't, that bothered the other one, like leaving your clothes on the floor, something like that, just wait 24 hours. and then you're allowed to address it.
I love that. I used to do it with my fiance.
No, I mean, it's almost genius because then your emotions have gone down. I'm no longer emotional about whatever it was, the dishes in the sink or, whatever it might be. So, and by that time, maybe they're gone, right? And then you realize you're like, is this emotion that I'm feeling worth sacrificing a pleasant evening, a pleasant date night, a pleasant weekend, a vacation, you know what I mean? All that stuff. And the same thing goes with business, that if it's not 911, right? Like there are situations you just have to deal with, right? And usually it's good if you're in a position, a seasoned business person to deal with those 911. I've seen people make decisions, so fast. You're like, wow, like it's amazing, right? They're like, so they see the future, and it comes with experience, and it comes with experiencing lots of failures, right? Because the more punches you get, the more you learn how to take them or dodge them. And so, I think patience is the number one thing, and being able to pull emotion out of the decision, right? And thinking through the decisions and going back to the core of what is the outcome that I want, right? And there's something that I think applies back to relationships, but also in business and life, asking yourself the question in a lot of situations, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy, right? And people don't understand that they're not the same thing because too often, like the instant gratification, like if I can show you that I'm right and that I have the, all that stuff, well, that's going to make me happy, right? So if we're in a situation and we're in a disagreement and I want to show you that I'm right, whether you might believe a certain way and my belief and your belief will never align. So it's impossible for me to show you that I'm right. But then now we have a problem with each other and we got a chip on our shoulder and like, no one's really happy. Like you got that like feeling of like, ooh, I told her, but you're not really happy. You know what I mean? And you apply that with relationships. Just like I said, do I want to complain about the dishes in the sink or do I want to have a great evening, right? With in those kind of things. And we can think through those things emotionally. It goes the same thing with business, right? And I see people, whether it's social media or whatever, where they're doing it, and I'm like, oh, can you imagine if that person actually had a serious problem to deal with, to solve? There's no way they would do it, right? They can't even solve the fact that they're in traffic.
Yeah.
And at the same time of the day that there's always traffic every day. Right? I mean,
no surprise.
About it. Right. It's like, what are you going to do if something actually happens? And so when you learn to deal with those things in life, you're just happier, right? And you also learn to calmly deal with things that pull the wind out of your sails, right? And I jokingly say, because I've been in situations with business where I think about like maybe I should just fold, and I joke and say that I'm too dumb to quit, like that I'm just too stubborn, and so that like something's going to give. Either this thing I'm working on is going to exhaust me, or I'm going to win, and I'm like probably one of the most relentless people you'll ever meet. Like that's what like. I don't stop. I don't quit. It's just, you know what I mean? I'll go. I don't even know where it comes from inside, you know what I mean, to do things. And a lot of it goes from people, I think, telling you can't, right? It's a powerful, sometimes that's what motivates people. So I think that's it. Just the patience and thinking through decisions without the least amount of emotion as possible.
It's incredible because you talk a lot about, so you come from a very logical and you take your time. It's a well thought through process with everything. Just listen to what you say. It's very well considered and for a place of immense stability. Now you've released a book recently because I read this about yesterday. I finished it actually, and that's almost, I guess, it's about alcohol. So it's not demonizing alcohol, but looking at the impact it has in our lives and the social obligation it has within us.
The relationship you have with alcohol. That's all it is.
Yeah, and I guess with that alcohol, I mean, I find certainly if I drink, I'm not as logical. I certainly am not as calm. And that also has, do you think that has, I mean, how much has that not drinking alcohol had an impact on your business?
Massively. Yeah, because there's two parts. And so the part you're talking about is the initial part that I noticed, like less brain fog, less, there'd be those nights where I'm working on building, projects late and I'm having a couple cocktails or a couple glasses of wine. You're not sharp. And your mind plays tricks. Alcohol will help you play. Alcohol will tell you that you're better looking than you are. Alcohol will tell you that I'm better looking than I am. Alcohol will tell you can drive. You can't.
Yeah.
Alcohol will tell you all those kind of things, right? And we know that. Like, you know what I know, you're nodding your head. Everybody that. So why do you think alcohol is going to help you make a better business decision? Why do you think alcohol is going to help you make a better relationship decision, right? Especially think of like when you think of like, let's say you and I are dating, we get in a fight, and then you're going to go out drinking with your girlfriends. Like, well, that's a good idea. That's definitely where you're going to make a lot of great decisions, right? And so,
it's true.
But we do it because that's what people do, right? And so what I'm kind of saying is like, think about that, just almost like a previous conversation with what's logical, what makes sense, and what's not emotional, right? And so for me, from a business standpoint, like the alcohol being out of the equation, you just make better decisions. There's the brain fog, the things like that go away, and it's usually after like 30 days sometimes, but mostly it takes I think a 90. If you can go 90 days, which is a program I'm coming out with soon, a 90-day program, just no alcohol, you will literally see life differently. And I say that because 100% of the people that have done it do, right? It doesn't mean you quit drinking, those people forever or anything like that, but those people that have gone through this 90-day program that I'm bringing out kind of more mainstream, that they just see themselves differently and they see alcohol differently. So the first part, obviously, like I said, better decisions, you feel better, more energy, you save money, all those things. The part that people don't see in that process is the self-confidence that happens when you are not having to, when you can say no. Like the power of saying no and the power of being totally cool with the decision that you make is awesome, right? And when you're sitting down at, say, the pub over there and everyone's ordering a beer and you're like, I'll just have an iced tea or I'll just have a water, and they're like, what? And you have the confidence, like instead of curling up, because in the beginning it's hard, but when you have the confidence to say, I don't really drink anymore, or just once in a blue moon, or maybe I don't drink at all. Like you can say whatever you need to say. It's your life, right? And you have that confidence to do that. People feel it, right? Like there's people. It sounds silly, but it's almost like, and I explain this through kind of when I take people through the process, but they don't look at you like you're lower than them. They look at you like you're higher than them. And you should, because you don't need that, right? You've overcome the social obligation of alcohol, right? You're beyond it. You don't need it. You decided for yourself, you're sticking to it, right? It's just like if you decided to go on a diet and your friends are like, hey, let's go out for fish and chips. I'm going to pick on you again for being in the UK. And you're like, I'm going to have a salad. And you're like, oh, who do you think you are? But really you're displaying a level of discipline based on a goal you've set for yourself, right? And that is commended. Whether externally they show you that they're like, wow, look at her, wow, what a discipline. On the outside they might be like, oh, who do you think you are? You think you're too cute to have whatever, you know what I mean? Like guys especially are super hard on each other. But no matter what, inside, they're intimidated by that discipline and that commitment level. And so when I try to teach people to own that feeling and stay in that place of kind of self-belief and self-image, and then you're a powerhouse. You're unstoppable because your confidence is so high. And then everything, like we struggle with confidence. That's why on social media we're doing all those posts because we want people to like it and comment and all that stuff. And when you can do that for yourself, no audience needed, is incredible, right? And so that confidence carries over to other things, as opposed to thinking, like, oh, I don't know if I want to try this. Maybe you've overcome that, and now you want to start a business, or you want to start a different athletic thing, or a diet, whatever it might be. You have that confidence knowing, like, I'm disciplined. I can do this. When I'm faced with adversity, when I'm faced with uncomfortable situations, I know that I can go through it because I went through this. You know what I mean? And so that's the biggest part that I really like teaching people, which now it's no longer about alcohol. It's about what your goals are and and through that goal, that self-awareness, there's people that they continue to drink, right? And maybe not at the pace, but they've discovered something about themselves that's going to change them forever. And that's the stuff that I love. Like I think if I'm going to die one day, that people go through, thousands of people can say, like, that book, that program, that person, that man, his speaking, whatever, changed my life, changed the way I look at myself just a little bit better, to believe in myself more, to go do all the things that my heart has wanted me to do, but my brain said, silly, I couldn't, right? And so that's what I love. That's what fuels me every single day.
Incredible. And by the way, for everyone watching this, we're going to have a link. So Adam, everywhere we can find all of this, and also the 90-day plan as well. That sounds incredible. When it comes out, we'll let everybody know.
Yeah, I'd love to share it with you and let you know.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's basically it's kind of a downloadable version that takes people through what I kind of do one-on-one. The things I do one-on-one are a little more intense, and I kind of have to pick and choose the people I work with. But this is going to be the same thing that I went through. So when I decided to remove alcohol, I went through a 90-day process. I just went through a process. It turned out at 90 days, I looked and I was like, I'll never drink again. And I journaled and I wrote down just different things I dealt with and how I dealt with them. And that's how I wrote the book. But I want to take people through a process that explains that so that they can do it. And it's affordable as opposed to, if you were to hire me one-on-one coaching, not everybody can afford that. But the results happen, you know what I mean? So I want to bring that out to globally. Anybody can do it anytime. They download and take the program. And I'm super excited about that.
Amazing. Now, my last question is books. So self-knowledge or self-education is an incredible thing. Apart from Better Than the Binge, which obviously is an incredible book. I recommend everyone to read it. What other 2 books would you recommend? What books have inspired you and really motivated you?
Yeah. So I'm going to give you 3. And the reason I'm going to give you 3 is that there's 3 books that are very important to me. And one is kind of what lit the fire. One is a book that I think is every person should read every few years. And another one is a book personally for me that I read that set me free, right? And outside of, I would say the Bible is a great book for everybody to read. But outside of that book, I'm going to tell you these 3 books. So one was The Power of Consistency by Weldon Long, I believe, and what that book kind of taught me, it was one of the first books I started reading. I've read hundreds of books, but this was one of the first ones, right? And I read it, and it's about this guy who was kind of a loser, I'll just say to make it easy, loser in and out of jail, drug, alcohol problems. Started reading a book in jail, which is going to be the second book I'll tell you about, and it motivated him to change his life and get out of jail, be a father to the estranged son he had, and start a very super successful business, and ended up building the largest air conditioner HVAC company in Colorado, right? So, and it just talks about a lot of these steps, and it inspired me because it spoke to me because I was I had a very challenging youth. I think in my late teens, early 20s, it was questionable where I was going to go, and luckily for a handful of people that believed in me throughout the process, which I said earlier in the conversation, that believing in somebody is sometimes the greatest gift you can ever give them, genuinely believing in them. And so that's the first book, Power of Consistency by Weldon Long. The second one is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And that to me there really isn't a book better out there, well-rounded for everybody to read, because it's an accountability book. And the most important thing with these books that I've seen mistakes made is I've seen people read the books and they're like, oh, my friend Susie's like that. Michael, he needs to read. No, you need to read the book. You need to make it about you, and you need to follow the process, right? The book isn't. If you're thinking about all the other people that this book is talking about, you're missing it. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the most important things. And then the third, which is my favorite book of all time, it's called Relentless by Tim Grover, and he was, and it just talks about a unique type person, of which I felt I was or am, and because I am different. I'm going to raise my kids different. I act different. I talk different, and I do things differently. Where I used to be afraid of, what's wrong with me? Why am I different? I need to get in line. I need to, it made me feel like something was wrong with me. And I read this book, realizing that I'm just relentless. I just have that mindset. I don't care about what people think. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to plow through it like a bull. And it's going to make people uncomfortable because it's different. And basically learning about that type of personality that I had, and being okay with it, it allowed me to be less reserved with my moves. Yeah. Right? If you're like, ooh, but if I mention that, it might make people uncomfortable. I don't care, because that level of uncomfort might be the answer to the solution. But if I'm too scared to say it, because what do they think? Like, when it sets you free. So that book is awesome. It's called Relentless by Tim Grover. He was Michael Jordan's trainer, Kobe Bryant's trainer, Dwayne Wade's trainer. So especially if you're a basketball fan, I'm kind of not I wouldn't say a huge fan, but it's cool too, right?
Yeah.
But the conversations that he has and talks about, like, kind of, it's the way I coach people. I work best with those kind of just A-type, badass mentality, like drill sergeant type stuff. Like, if that's the way you're wired, like, you will fall in love with a book like this. So those would be the three books that I would recommend.
Fantastic. We'll add them on the end as well. So everyone watching this, what we're going to do is put everywhere you can contact Adam. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, internet websites, whatever we've got, so you can find him. Adam, thank you so much. It's been absolutely incredible.
Well, thank you so much, Stuart. It was exciting to talk to you and share.